She came home from Cancun looking like a woman reborn. Sun-kissed skin, new highlights, that glow people get when they've had the best week of their lives. "How was the trip?" I asked, setting down my beer. "Amazing," Nicole said, dropping her suitcase by the stairs. "The resort was incredible. The beach, the food, the spa treatments. Honestly, babe, it was exactly what I needed." She kissed my cheek, quick, distracted, and headed upstairs to unpack. I noticed she left her phone face down on the kitchen counter. She never did that. 2 hours later, there was a knock at the door. I opened it to find Marcus Chen standing on my porch, suit wrinkled, eyes red, hands shaking. Marcus was married to Nicole's best friend, Vanessa. They'd been together 12 years, 2 kids, the kind of couple that made everyone else feel inadequate. "Marcus," I said, "you okay, man?" He looked past me into the house. "Is Nicole here?" "Yeah, she just got back from—" I know where she got back from." His voice cracked. "I need to talk to her, now." Something in his tone made my stomach drop. "What's going on?" He pulled out his phone, turned the screen toward me. It was a photo, taken at a beach resort, sunset, 2 women in sundresses, drinks in hand, smiling at the camera. Nicole and Vanessa. Except behind them, slightly out of focus but unmistakable, were 2 men. One had his arm around Nicole's waist, the other was kissing Vanessa's neck. "That," Marcus said, voice shaking, "was taken 4 days ago by a couple from Cincinnati who thought they recognized my wife. They sent it to me this morning." My mouth dried. "There's more," Marcus continued. He swiped to the next photo. Nicole and the same man, holding hands, walking into a hotel room. The guy's name is Raphael. He's a bartender at the resort. Vanessa met him 2 years ago on a work trip. She's been going back every few months, and 6 months ago. He looked at me, and I saw something worse than anger in his eyes. Pity. She started bringing Nicole. The world tilted. Marcus's voice dropped to a whisper. "I hired a PI. I have videos, receipts, text messages. They've been running a whole operation. Girls' trips to Cancun, Miami, Scottsdale. Except it's not girls. It's them and their boyfriends." He handed me his phone. "I thought you deserved to know before I filed." I stared at the screen, at my wife's face, lit up in a way I hadn't seen in years. Not for me. For a bartender named Raphael. Behind me, I heard footsteps on the stairs. "Babe, who's at the—" Nicole froze when she saw Marcus. The glow drained from her face in seconds. "Marcus," she whispered, "what are you doing here?" He didn't answer, just looked at me. I held up his phone. "Want to explain this?" If you want to know what happened when I played the videos Marcus's PI recorded, hit subscribe, because what I saw made me realize my wife wasn't just cheating, she was living a double life I'd been funding for 2 years. My name is Jason Mitchell. I'm 38 years old and I live in Austin, Texas. I'm a software engineer at a mid-sized tech company. Good job, steady income, nothing flashy but comfortable. I met Nicole 9 years ago at a friend's wedding. She was a bridesmaid, I was a groomsman. We danced, we laughed, we exchanged numbers. 6 months later, we were engaged. She was everything I thought I wanted. Smart, funny, ambitious. She worked in marketing for a boutique agency downtown. We bought a house in South Austin, 3 bedrooms, a backyard, a mortgage we could actually afford. For the first few years, it was good, really good. We had routines, Sunday morning farmers market, Thursday night tacos, annual camping trips to Big Bend.
We talked about kids. Maybe in a few years when her career settled down. I thought we were building something. Turns out she was building something too, just not with me. The girls' trips started about 2 years ago. Nicole and Vanessa had been best friends since college. They were inseparable. Brunch every Sunday, weekly yoga classes, constant texting. So when Vanessa suggested a weekend getaway to Cancun, I didn't think twice. "It's been so stressful at work," Nicole said. "I just need a few days to decompress. You don't mind, right?" "Of course not," I said. "You deserve it." She kissed me, grateful. "You're the best." That first trip was a long weekend, Thursday to Sunday. She came back relaxed, happy, full of stories about the resort, the beach, the margaritas. "We should go together sometime," she said. "You'd love it." "Definitely," I agreed. But we never did, because 3 months later there was another girls' trip, this time to Miami, then Scottsdale, then back to Cancun. At first it was every few months, then every 6 weeks, then monthly. "Vanessa's going through a rough patch," Nicole explained. "She needs the support." I didn't question it. Vanessa's marriage seemed solid, but who really knows what goes on behind closed doors? I was a good husband, supportive, understanding. I didn't realize I was being played. The trips followed a pattern. Nicole would book them weeks in advance, always Thursday to Sunday, always all-inclusive resorts. She'd pack light, sundresses, bikinis, sandals, her vacation mode wardrobe. The night before she left, we'd have dinner. She'd be excited, chatty, already mentally checked out. "I'll miss you," she'd say, kissing me goodbye at the airport drop-off. "Miss you too. Have fun." And she did. While she was gone, she'd text sporadically. Photos of the beach, the pool, her and Vanessa with drinks. "Wish you were here," with a heart emoji. I'd respond with something supportive. "Looks amazing. Enjoy." When she came home, she'd be glowing, tan, relaxed, full of energy. We'd have great sex that first night back, like she'd been recharged. I thought it was the vacation. Turns out it was guilt. I started noticing small things about 6 months ago. New lingerie, expensive stuff, lacy and delicate, that she never wore around me. "When did you get this?" I asked, folding laundry. "Oh, Vanessa and I went shopping before the last trip," she said, casually. "It was on sale." But the tags were still on, and the price wasn't sale level. Then there were the receipts. I wasn't snooping. I was organizing our credit card statements for taxes. But I noticed charges from the trips that didn't add up. $300 at a beachside restaurant for 2 people at an all-inclusive resort where meals were included. $150 at a spa, but she told me the resort spa was too expensive. $200 at a nightclub. Nicole didn't even like clubs. When I asked about it, she had answers ready. "Oh, we went off-resort one night, wanted to try the local scene. The spa charge was for Vanessa. I covered it and she paid me back. The club was Vanessa's idea. I barely drank." Every explanation was smooth, practiced. I wanted to believe her, so I did. Then came the Cancun trip 3 weeks ago. Nicole was more excited than usual. She bought new clothes, got her hair done, even got a spray tan before she left. "You look amazing," I said. "Thanks, babe." She kissed me, distracted, already scrolling through her phone. "Who are you texting?" "Just coordinating with Vanessa, making sure we're on the same flight." She left on a Thursday morning. I dropped her at the airport at 6 a.m. "Love you," she said, grabbing her suitcase. "Love you too. Be safe." She disappeared into the terminal, and I drove home through empty Austin streets, feeling an unease I couldn't name. While she was gone, something felt different. The texts were fewer, the photos were generic, stock images of beaches and sunsets, nothing personal. When I called, she sounded distant. "Hey, babe, how's it going?" "Good. Just got back from the beach, about to grab dinner." "With Vanessa?" "Yeah, and some people we met at the resort. Super nice couple from Dallas." "That's great. Miss you." "Miss you too. Gotta go. Food's here." She hung up before I could say goodbye. I stared at my phone, that unease growing into something sharper. Sunday afternoon, I picked her up from the airport. She looked incredible, glowing, rested, happy in a way that made my chest ache. "How was it?" I asked as she slid into the passenger seat. Perfect, she said, leaning over to kiss me. Exactly what I needed. On the drive home, she talked about the resort, the beach, the food, surface-level details that could have come from a brochure. Did you and Vanessa do anything special? Just relaxed, mostly. We did a snorkeling excursion one day. Oh, and we tried this amazing ceviche place. Sounds great. It was. She turned to look out the window, and I caught her smiling at something on her phone. Who's that? Just Vanessa, sending me photos from the trip. But the smile didn't match the explanation. It was the smile of someone with a secret. That night, after she unpacked and showered, we had dinner. She was animated, laughing, touching my hand across the table. I'm so glad I went. I feel like a new person. I can tell. You seem really happy. I am. Later in bed, she initiated sex. It was intense, passionate, different. Afterwards, she fell asleep quickly, curled against me. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, trying to shake the feeling that something was wrong. At 2 a.m., her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I glanced over. A text notification. Raphael. Already missing you, Hermosa. Can't wait for next time. My blood went cold. I didn't move, didn't breathe. The screen went dark. I lay there until dawn, my mind racing, trying to piece together what I'd just seen. Who the hell was Raphael? I didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, I did what any man in my position would do. I started looking. Monday morning after Nicole left for work, I opened her laptop. She'd left it on the kitchen counter, still logged in. I felt like a criminal, but I couldn't stop myself. I opened her email, searched for Raphael. Dozens of messages, going back 6 months. I clicked on the first one. Can't stop thinking about you, counting down the days until you're back in my arms. My stomach turned. I kept reading. Vanessa says you're coming in March. I already requested those days off. We'll have the whole weekend. I bought something for you. You'll love it. Or maybe you'll love taking it off. Winky face. Thank you for last night. You make me feel alive. I sat back, hands shaking. This wasn't a fling. This wasn't a mistake. This was a relationship. I dug deeper, found hotel confirmations, not for the all-inclusive resorts she'd told me about, for a boutique hotel in downtown Cancun, adults only, romantic suites, booked under her name. I found Venmo transactions, payments to someone named @Raphael Cancun. $200, $150, $300. The descriptions were emojis, hearts, cocktails, fire. I found photos in her cloud storage, her and Raphael, on the beach, at a restaurant, in bed.
His face was everywhere. Tanned, handsome, younger than me. In one photo, he was kissing her neck while she laughed. In another, they were holding hands, walking along the shore at sunset. She looked happier than I'd ever seen her. I closed the laptop and sat in the silent kitchen, trying to process what I'd just learned. My wife wasn't just cheating. She was in love with someone else. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to scream, to throw her laptop across the room, to call her and demand answers. But another part of me, the part that had been trained by years of debugging code, knew I needed more information. I needed to understand the full scope before I acted. So I kept digging. I checked our credit card statements, found charges I'd missed before, flights to Cancun that didn't match her group booking story, charges at restaurants and bars in the hotel zone, Uber rides to addresses I didn't recognize. I cross-referenced the dates with her calendar. Every girls' trip lined up with a reservation at that boutique hotel. Every weekend with Vanessa was actually a weekend with Raphael. For 2 years, my wife had been living a double life, and I'd been funding it. That's when Marcus knocked on my door.
I was sitting at my desk, staring at spreadsheets of evidence, when I heard the knock. I opened the door to find Marcus Chen looking like he hadn't slept in days. "Marcus, you okay, man?" He looked past me. "Is Nicole here?" "Yeah, she just got back from—" I know where she got back from. His voice was tight, controlled, the voice of a man barely holding it together. "What's going on?" He pulled out his phone, turned it toward me. The photo on the screen made my world tilt. Nicole and Vanessa at a beach resort, sunset, drinks in hand. Behind them, two men. One had his arm around Nicole's waist. The other was kissing Vanessa's neck. "That was taken 4 days ago," Marcus said, "by a couple from Cincinnati who recognized Vanessa. They sent it to me this morning." I couldn't speak. Marcus swiped to the next photo. Nicole and Raphael, holding hands, walking into a hotel. "I hired a PI," Marcus continued. "I have videos, receipts, text messages. They've been doing this for 2 years. He looked at me with something worse than anger. Pity. "I thought you deserved to know before I filed." Behind me, I heard footsteps on the stairs. "Babe, who's at the—" Nicole froze when she saw Marcus. The glow drained from her face. "Marcus, what are you doing here?" He didn't answer, just looked at me. I held up his phone. "Want to explain this?" The silence that followed was deafening. Nicole's eyes darted between me, Marcus, and the phone in my hand. "Jason, Don't," I said quietly. "Don't insult me with a lie." Her mouth opened, closed. Marcus stepped forward. "Where's Vanessa?" "She's at home, I think." "No, she's not. I checked." His voice cracked. "She's at a hotel with our kids. She left me this morning." Nicole's face went pale. "She what?" "She said she couldn't do it anymore, that she was in love with someone else, that our marriage was over." He looked at her, and I saw the full weight of his pain. "Did you know she was going to leave me?" Nicole's silence was answer enough. Marcus's hands clenched into fists. "How long have you been helping her cheat on me?" "I wasn't—" "Bullshit!" His voice exploded. "You've been covering for her. Every girls' trip, every lie, every time I asked if everything was okay and you said yes, you were helping her destroy my family." Nicole took a step back. "Marcus, I'm sorry." "Sorry?" He laughed, bitter and broken. "My kids are asking why Mommy doesn't live with us anymore. My son cried himself to sleep last night, and you're sorry?" I set the phone down on the hall table. "Marcus, maybe we should—" "No." He turned to me. "You need to see this, all of it." He pulled up his phone and opened a video. "My PI followed them last week. I need you to see what we're dealing with." He pressed play. The video was taken from a distance, but the image was clear. A beachside restaurant, evening, string lights and ocean breeze. Nicole and Vanessa sat at a table with 2 men, Raphael and another guy, younger, fit, the kind of men who made a living off their looks. They were laughing, drinking, touching. Raphael's hand was on Nicole's thigh. The other man had his arm around Vanessa. They looked like 2 couples on vacation, which, I realized with a sick feeling, is exactly what they were. The video continued. They finished dinner, walked along the beach, the men's arms around the women's waists. Then they split up. Vanessa and her guy headed toward one hotel. Nicole and Raphael headed toward another. The camera followed Nicole. She and Raphael walked through the lobby, into an elevator, down a hallway. They stopped at a door. Raphael unlocked it. Before they went inside, Nicole turned and kissed him. Not a peck, a real kiss, the kind that says, "I love you." Then they disappeared into the room. The video ended. I stared at the black screen. My hands were numb. My chest felt hollow. Marcus's voice was quiet. There were 4 more videos. Different days, same pattern.
I looked at Nicole. She was crying, silent tears streaming down her face. "How long?" I asked. "Jason, how long have you been sleeping with him?" She wiped her face. 2 years. 2 years. 730 days. 124 weeks. 24 girls' trips. All of it a lie. "And Vanessa," Marcus asked, "how long has she been cheating?" Nicole's voice was barely a whisper. 3 years. Marcus made a sound like he'd been punched. 3 years, he repeated. "Our youngest is 3 years old." The implications hung in the air. "Is he mine?" Marcus asked. Nicole didn't answer. "Is he mine?" "I don't know," Nicole shouted. "Vanessa doesn't know. She never got him tested." The room spun. Marcus stumbled backward, caught himself on the doorframe. "Oh my God! Oh my God!" I don't remember Marcus leaving. One moment he was there, the next he was gone. It was just me and Nicole in the hallway. She tried to speak. "Jason, please, stop." "I can explain." "There's nothing to explain." My voice was calm, too calm. "You've been cheating on me for 2 years. You've been lying to me, using our money to fund your affair. That's it. That's the whole story." "It's not that simple." "It is exactly that simple." She reached for me. I stepped back. "Don't touch me." "Jason, please, I love you." "No, you don't." I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw a stranger. "You love the life I gave you, the house, the stability, the safety, but you don't love me." "That's not true." "Then why? Why him? Why lie? Why not just leave?" She didn't have an answer. Or maybe she did, and it was too ugly to say out loud. I walked past her, grabbed my keys from the hook. "Where are you going?" "Out." "Jason, we need to talk about this." "No," I said. "We don't. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine." I walked out the door and didn't look back. I drove aimlessly for an hour, through downtown Austin, past the lake, up into the hills. I ended up at a park overlook, staring at the city lights below. My phone buzzed. "Nicole, please come home. We need to talk." I didn't respond. Another buzz. "I'm sorry. I know I messed up, but we can fix this." Fix this. Like it was a broken appliance, a software bug, something you could patch and move on from. Another buzz. "Jason, please, I love you. It was a mistake."
A mistake. 2 years, dozens of trips, hundreds of lies. That wasn't a mistake. That was a choice. I turned off my phone and sat in the silence. I didn't go home that night. I checked into a hotel near the airport, one of those extended stay places with a kitchenette and a pull-out couch. I lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to process everything. My wife had been living a double life. My marriage was a lie. Everything I thought I knew was wrong. At some point, I fell asleep. When I woke up, it was 6 a.m. I had 17 missed calls from Nicole and 1 text from Marcus. "I filed this morning. My lawyer says you should do the same. I'm sorry, man." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I opened my laptop and searched for divorce attorneys in Austin. I found a lawyer named Catherine Ross, former prosecutor, now specializing in family law. Her website was no nonsense. No stock photos of happy families, just a headshot and a simple message. Protecting your rights, preserving your dignity. I called her office at 8 a.m. "Ross Law, how can I help you?" "I need to file for divorce." "Okay, can you tell me a little about your situation?" I gave her the short version. Married 9 years, wife cheating for 2 years, evidence of the affair. "Do you have children?" "No." "Shared assets?" "A house, 2 cars, joint bank accounts." "Okay, I can see you this afternoon, 2 o'clock? I'll be there." Catherine Ross's office was in a small building near downtown, clean, professional, no frills. She was in her 50s, sharp-eyed, with the kind of presence that made you feel like you were in good hands. "Mr. Mitchell,"
she said, shaking my hand. "Tell me everything." I did. I told her about the trips, the lies, the evidence Marcus had shown me. I showed her the emails, the receipts, the photos I'd found on Nicole's laptop. Catherine took notes, her expression neutral. When she finished, she set down her pen. "This is a strong case. Texas is a no-fault state, but adultery is still a factor in asset division. With this much evidence, we can argue that she violated the marital contract." "What does that mean?" "It means you're entitled to a larger share of the marital assets, the house, the cars, the retirement accounts. We can also argue that she should reimburse you for the money spent on her affairs." I blinked. "We can do that?" "We can try. It's called dissipation of marital assets. If she used joint funds for personal benefit, in this case her affair, you can ask the court to make her pay it back." For the first time in 24 hours, I felt something other than numbness. Hope. Catherine walked me through the process. Filing the petition, serving Nicole, discovery, mediation, trial if it came to that. "How long does this take?" "In Texas, there's a mandatory 60-day waiting period, but with contested assets, it could take 6 months to a year. And if she fights it, then we fight back." Catherine leaned forward. "Mr. Mitchell, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've seen every trick in the book. Your wife will likely try to minimize her affair, claim it was a mistake, argue that she deserves half of everything because she contributed to the marriage. But she didn't. I know, and we'll prove it. But you need to be prepared for this to get ugly." I nodded. "I'm ready." "Good." She slid a contract across the desk. "Then let's get started." I signed. Nicole was served the next day. I wasn't there. A process server delivered the papers to her at work. She called me immediately. I didn't answer.
She called again and again. Finally, I texted, "Talk to my lawyer." Her response came fast. "Jason, please, we can work this out. Don't do this." I didn't respond. An hour later, she showed up at the hotel. I don't know how she found me. Maybe she tracked my credit card. Maybe she called every hotel in Austin. But there she was, knocking on my door at 8 p.m. "Jason, please, let me in." I opened the door but didn't step aside. "What do you want?" "I want to talk. There's nothing to talk about." "Yes, there is." Her eyes were red, swollen. "I made a mistake, a huge mistake, but we can fix this." "No, we can't." "Jason, you cheated on me for 2 years, Nicole. You lied to my face. You used our money to fund your affair. There's no fixing that." "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" I asked. "Explain it to me. Make me understand how you could do this." She opened her mouth, closed it. That's what I thought. I started to close the door. She put her hand on it. "I love you." "No, you don't." "I do. I know I messed up, but I love you. I want to save our marriage." I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the desperation in her eyes. Not desperation to save us, desperation to save herself. "You don't love me," I said quietly. "You love the life I gave you, and now that it's falling apart, you're scared." "That's not true." "Go home, Nicole." "Jason, go home, and don't come back." I closed the door. She stood there for a long time. I could see her shadow under the door. Then finally she left. Over the next 2 weeks, Catherine and I built the case. We compiled every receipt, every email, every photo. We calculated how much money Nicole had spent on her affair. Flights, hotels, dinners, gifts. The total was staggering, $47,000. Nearly $50,000 of our joint money spent on another man. "We're going to ask for full reimbursement," Catherine said, "plus a larger share of the house equity." "Will we get it?" "Depends on the judge, but with this much evidence, I'd say we have a good shot." Nicole's lawyer reached out to Catherine. They wanted to mediate, avoid a trial. "What do you think?" I asked.
"I think they're scared," Catherine said. "They know we have a strong case. They want to settle before it gets worse." "What should I do?" "That's up to you. But if we go to trial, we can push for more. If we settle, we can end this faster." I thought about dragging this out for months, about sitting in a courtroom listening to Nicole's lawyer paint me as the bad guy, about the time, the money, the emotional toll. "Let's mediate," I said, "but I'm not backing down on the reimbursement." "Fair enough." The mediation was held in a conference room downtown, neutral territory, a mediator to keep things civil. Nicole sat across from me, her lawyer beside her. She looked smaller than I remembered, tired, defeated. The mediator started. "We're here to discuss the terms of the divorce. Let's begin with assets." Catherine laid out our position. I keep the house, Nicole keeps her car, we split the retirement accounts, and Nicole reimburses me $47,000 for the money spent on her affair. Nicole's lawyer bristled. "That's excessive." "It's documented," Catherine interrupted. "Every dollar is accounted for. Flights, hotels, meals, gifts, all paid for with joint funds while she was engaged in an extramarital affair." The mediator looked at Nicole. "Is this accurate?" She nodded, barely. "Then it's a reasonable request," the mediator said. Nicole's lawyer tried to negotiate, offered $20,000, then $30,000. Catherine didn't budge. Full reimbursement or we go to trial. Finally, Nicole spoke. "Fine, I'll pay it." Her lawyer looked at her, surprised. "Nicole," I said, "fine." Her voice was flat, empty. "I just want this over."
We signed the agreement that day. I got the house, Nicole got her car and half the retirement accounts. She agreed to pay me $47,000 in installments over 2 years. The divorce would be final in 60 days. As we left the conference room, Nicole caught my arm. "Jason, Don't," I said. "It's done. I just want you to know, I'm sorry for everything." I looked at her one last time. "I know you are, but sorry doesn't fix this." I walked away. 60 days later, the divorce was final. I got the papers in the mail, signed by a judge, official. I sat in the house, my house now, and stared at the document. 9 years of marriage, reduced to a few pages of legal text. It should have felt like closure. Instead, it just felt empty. I threw myself into work, picked up extra projects, stayed late at the office, anything to avoid going home to an empty house. Marcus and I stayed in touch. He was going through his own hell. Vanessa had admitted the affair, admitted she didn't know if their youngest was Marcus's. He'd demanded a paternity test. The results came back 2 weeks later. The boy was his. Marcus cried when he told me, relief and heartbreak all at once. "At least I have that," he said. "At least I know he's mine." Vanessa didn't fight the divorce. She moved to Cancun permanently to be with her bartender. She left her kids behind. Marcus got full custody. 6 months after the divorce, I was still living in the house, still driving the same car, still going through the motions. One Saturday, I was at Home Depot buying paint for the guest room when I ran into someone. "Jason!" I turned. It was Sarah, an old friend from college. I hadn't seen her in years. "Sarah, hey!" We hugged, caught up. She'd moved back to Austin after a divorce of her own. "Want to grab coffee sometime?" she asked. "Yeah, I'd like that." Coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into a second date. Sarah was easy to talk to. She didn't ask about Nicole, didn't pry into my past. She just listened. After our third date, we were walking along the lake when she stopped. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Are you okay? Really?" I thought about it. "I'm getting there." "Good," she smiled, "because you deserve to be happy." For the first time in months, I believed her. A year after the divorce, I sold the house. Too many memories, too many ghosts. I bought a condo downtown, smaller, simpler, mine.
Sarah helped me move in. We painted the walls together, hung pictures, made it feel like home. One night, we were sitting on the balcony, watching the city lights, when she said, "You know what I like about you?" "What?" "You didn't let it break you." I looked at her. It almost did. But it didn't. She took my hand. That's what matters. I ran into Nicole once, about 2 years after the divorce. She was at a coffee shop downtown, alone. "Nicole," she said, surprised. "Jason." Awkward silence. "How are you?" she asked. "Good. You?" "I'm managing." I nodded. "Good." More silence. "I heard you're seeing someone," she said. "I am." "That's great. I'm happy for you." She didn't look happy. She looked hollow. "Take care, Nicole." "You too." I walked away and didn't look back. 3 years after the divorce, Sarah and I got married. Small ceremony. Close friends. Marcus was my best man. Standing at the altar, watching Sarah walk toward me, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not because I'd gotten revenge, not because Nicole had suffered, but because I'd chosen to move forward, to build something new, something real. If you've ever been betrayed, if you've ever had someone you trusted destroy your life, if you've ever had to rebuild from nothing, this one's for you. Comment, "I rebuilt," if this story hit home. Hit subscribe for more stories about finding strength in the wreckage. Because the best revenge isn't making them pay. It's building a life so good you forget they ever mattered.